Welcome back to this special edition of Hannity. Jeffrey Epstein's closest confidant, Ghislaine Maxwell, is now facing decades behind bars, if not life. But Epstein's former mentor and Ponzi scheme mastermind, Stephen Hoffenberg, believes Maxwell will be naming names in exchange for a more favorable sentence. And new tonight, a woman who says she was sexually assaulted by Ghislaine Maxwell dozens of times is telling Fox News that she is willing to testify against Maxwell in court, stating that, quote, she is just as evil as Jeffrey Epstein. She is a rapist, end quote. Joining us now with their reaction is Fox News contributor Tammy Bruce, along with author of The Russia Hoax and Fox News legal analyst Gregg Jarrett. Thank you both for joining us here tonight. Tammy, when you hear this young woman who's now grown up, she's an adult now, but this young woman went through hell. What do you think is going to happen with her? And more importantly, is there going to be justice in this case?
Well, this is very compelling, of course. And just as a reminder to everyone, as we've seen in the past with people like Judge Kavanaugh, some people can make things up. That's what due process is for. That's what the justice system is for. And we should keep that in mind. Of course, Maxwell denies all of this occurred. At the same time, having my own experiences, I think that women in general can relate to the issue of domestic violence, to people being abusive, et cetera. And I think that this is a dynamic where a lot of people at the same time can't imagine some of the things that this particular young woman is describing. But I think that we've got to realize, and for me, this is important on the issue of gender stereotypes, especially as we move into the election season. We keep being told that women are better than everyone else, that women are better than men, that women do things differently, that we're better leaders, we can be trusted more. And a very important thing to remember is that women are powerful and amazing, and we are as capable of good as men are, as well as bad. And I think that that's going to be key when it comes to how she's viewed. I think part of it's going to be her defense that women sometimes use, in that they're not capable of doing the things that they're being accused of. And that will be the justice system will have to answer that. But I do think a lot of people are very nervous right now because she does hold, I would guess, with what I've heard, a great deal of information about a lot of powerful people. And we're going to have to see how this plays out. But clearly, this is going to go on for quite some time.
Now, Greg, I'm glad that she's been captured and charged. Job number one for law enforcement right now is to keep her alive. What do you think is going to happen and play out in this case?
Well, she's in New Hampshire in the county jail there. She'll be transferred. She's not fighting extradition, so she'll come down to New York. She could be at the same facility as Jeffrey Epstein, the Metropolitan Correction Center, which has undertaken needed reforms. She could be over at the detention center in Brooklyn. There are other locations. She'll be watched 24 hours a day by reliable people, multiple people. But I agree with Tammy. This was such a horrific, shocking, heart-wrenching interview of one of the victims. And it's just part of the panoply of witnesses and documentary evidence that will be presented against Ghislaine Maxwell. She holds the secrets. So many secrets went to the grave with Jeffrey Epstein. She can implicate a great many people, be it Wall Street figures or corporate America or politicians in Washington. She can answer the questions of who all was involved. How many victims are there? Was there a cover-up by lawyers and accountants who paid off some of the alleged victims? So she's the key to a lot of unanswered questions, and I agree that victims deserve their day in court. They deserve justice, and if any of the other witnesses are anything like the young woman that Brian Yennis on Fox News interviewed today, I watched the interview. She was compelling. She seemed quite credible. I think most defense attorneys would sit on their hands and say, no questions on cross-examination. The case against Ghislaine Maxwell is formidable.
Yeah, I hope the Department of Justice gets this one right, because they didn't get the other one right. They blew it last time. I want to quickly get your comments on Mount Rushmore. I've only got about 30 seconds for each of you, but as you see this play out, what the president's doing, what comes to mind? What are your thoughts? Tammy, let's start with you.
Well, look, we just talked about some of the worst people on earth, right? And now we're looking at an event that celebrates the best people on earth, if you will. The president doing an incredible job, and 4 presidents on Mount Rushmore who represent the establishment of a nation that still serves as a shining city on the hill for people who flee countries that are disasters and want to be able to pursue their own American dream. So this is an exciting thing to watch. It reminds people who we are, who started up this incredible experiment that has been beautiful and has saved lives for centuries now and will for centuries to come. And we're reminded about what we're fighting for and what the 4th of July is all about.
Gregg, your thoughts?
Well, the New York Times complained, oh, gee, this is a memorial built on indigenous land. Well, the dopes at the New York Times don't realize every square foot of America was built on indigenous land. But people are determined to destroy memorials and deface monuments and tear down statues. And it just reminds me of what Cardinal Timothy Dolan of York said a few days ago. He said, look, we all make mistakes. We're all imperfect. If we're going to start tearing down statues of people who sinned, the only statues left will be of Jesus and his mother. It's a point well taken.
It is a point well taken, and this is going to be a great event. Fox News will carry the remarks by the president live as soon as he takes the stage. Tammy and Gregg, thank you so much for joining us tonight.